Hello everyone, this is Hearthstone Meta Hype. I am Ecor100 with my friend Venga Dragon. How's it going, Venga Dragon?
I am very, very well, and I am so hyped that there has been some changes, but man, some things are just still wrong with Hearthstone, aren't they?
A little bit, yeah, I would say. And the things that are wrong with Hearthstone are not even really like Blizzard's fault. It's more of like a split in the community, and I'm really excited to talk about it because I saw Roarin have a video about this not too long ago, and I was like, this is an interesting topic that could be dived into a little bit more, and that is what I plan to do.
Yeah, definitely. Roarin is the man. Just got to give him a big shout out. If you don't know him, you've been hiding under a rock. He's chilling like a villain. Definitely somebody that is a good content creator, like my man Ecor. You know, so
well, thank you. I think that we are both, all of us, you too. We're all good content creators.
I'm coming up, brother. I'm coming up. You know what I mean? I'm still coming up. I'm not worthy yet of the Ecor prowess, but yeah. Anyway, so just let's talk about that topic. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent. You see me?
It's fine. I do it literally all the time. Anyway, focus, Ecor. The topic is basically just the split between competitiveness and funness, whatever, in Hearthstone, because it's something that seems to split the community a pretty decent amount, and also splits like Hearthstone's like the developers as well. And it's like there are ways that you can go about balancing the game that focus more on the competitiveness, because like, you know, decks like Paladin, right? Paladin was or classes like Paladin is the most objectively powerful class in the game, or at least it was until the nerfs. The nerfs just came out. We'll see where everything lies at the end of all of this, but it was ridiculously strong. And if you went on like Reddit or you talked to people, nobody would really say Paladin was that big of a problem, even though its win rate was 6% higher than the second highest win rate class, which was Mage. People would be complaining about Deck of Lunacy Mage, which, don't get me wrong, deserve to be complained about, but then Tickatus Warlock, with Warlock's overall win rate being 57% on Hearthstone Replay, and Control Warlock being a tier 3 deck according to Hearthstone Replay. This is where I'm getting all my statistics, by the way, if you guys want to check this up, through like Diamond and Legend. Like they were just objectively not good things if you look at the statistics, like Tickatus, but it was being complained about more than a deck that was super powerful. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, this is the thing is you have like a deck like Paladin, right? And I think it's a matter of like being broken. It's not that it's just powerful. It's broken, right? The thing is if you think about like Rogue, for example, right? And I'm just gonna like compare it to that, right? Like Rogue is a power, can be, there's many different powerful decks that are in Rogue, and if you put it in the hands of the right player, it's ridiculous. Like it's just insane. Like some players are just so well attuned to playing Rogue, right? And when it becomes to the point where a deck is broken, it's just like it becomes the air of the community. Everybody just like, oh, this deck is broken. Paladin is like, or Mage is broken and it's no fun to play against. It's because people question the level of skill that's required to play it. So I think that Paladin kind of it fell under the radar because Deck of Lunacy was so bad. It was just so ridiculous. Like it's just so broken that it overshadowed the Paladin class, which was also really super broken. Like the weapon was broken, the secrets, the way they came out, and just everything. Like there were so many things broken about it too, but it was just ignored because, you know, the other deck was just so broken. Deck of Lunacy is just absolute terrible design. It's disgusting.
I mean, that's true. And I do think that you talking about the brokenness is fair. But I think you're confusing necessarily like brokenness with toxicity or anti-fun. Because the main other card that I was talking about, the main card that gets the most hate, other than Deck of Lunacy at the time, was Tickatus, which is not a good card. I mean, it is a good card, but the deck isn't very good. It counters very few things, but it's complained about a lot, not necessarily because it's broken, but because it is like anti-fun. And that was the same thing with Deck of Lunacy. Like, Deck of Lunacy was not broken, or broken in quotes, I guess, when there were more cards in the pool, right? We talked about this last episode. It only became ridiculously powerful with all of the cards rotating out. But then it became anti-fun because it was both RNG based, but you also knew that you were going to get Nagran slammed on turn 7. So, like, not only was it RNG, but you also knew that you were going to get slammed with the giant win condition turn 7 instead of turn 10. whereas Paladin was just a tempo-based deck where you get tons of value, but wasn't really anti-fun to play against. It was just, okay, they're putting minions out on the board, okay, I wipe them a couple of times or I don't, and then I win or I lose, regardless of what happens. Most of the time losing, because the win rate was like 57%, and we go about our day. And that's basically what I'm trying to talk about. Because then there are a lot of people who still do complain about Paladin, because there were people at like some higher ranks when I talked to them who were saying like Paladin's broken and needs a nerf, because they were trying to play competitively and decks like Paladin were dominating, like statistically. So there were two sides. Most people, I think, there are actually more people complain about Lunacy and Tickatus, which were more like the fun argument than the competitive argument of Paladin, which I think says a lot about the game of Hearthstone. The game of Hearthstone is a more fun, casual game than competitive, which is why those cards like Lunacy and Tickatus are talked about and complained about more, and are sometimes like nerfed more.
Yeah, that's interesting you mentioned that, because my thoughts were that the toxicity that you're talking about, it's so true. The thing is people love to commiserate, right? Misery is something that enjoys company, right? And nobody, right? Very few people are willing to say, I lost that game because I lost that game.
True,
right?
dude. I
right?
will blame everything except myself.
Right. And I believe that you are willing to admit that you're not.
Oh, yeah.
That
I
you,
do
like,
sometimes.
Like if you watch my stream or you see me play, I say, wow, my opponent played really well there. That was really, really good. But
no, yeah.
I could make that same exact statement. Ready? Wow, my opponent played really good there. That was really good. Now enter Mage, enter Deck of Lunacy. Wow, my opponent really played really good there.
Guess he's just a better player than I am.
It's exactly the same statement, right? But
yeah,
they literally played the Grand Slam back to back on turns 6 and 7 and 8 or something, and I'm like, that's really good, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you can't see the exertion of some type of skill, even as a casual player, it's like, it's just not fun. As a competitive player, it's just not fun to do it. I actually, believe it or not, I know this is crazy, I enjoy seeing people play well. I welcome it. Like the challenge to outplay somebody, if it exists, or get outplayed, it's called respect. You could respect the game. You're like, wow, that was like, man, that was really crazy. I can't believe that they did it like that. But there's just too many people that are willing to say, oh, you got lucky. I mean, anybody knows, accept a friend request. What do you get? You lucky, blah, 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 you know, right?
Yeah, dude, oh my gosh. The amount of times I've accepted friend requests, like, oh, they like want to talk about something, or they just want to add me as a friend, and they just say like, you played a cancer deck, I hope you die. Like, what? Because I played a children's card game and I played Face Hunter because that was the only deck I could afford. This is back when I was free to play. You're gonna flame me for what?
Yeah. The thing is that's the community, right? That's that's also kind of like a gamer type of thing too. There's a lot of players that just willing, like, I hate saying this because I'm not the best player. And what I'm good at is recognizing when someone plays well. The bad players will, they'll just be like, blame everybody but themselves. Like, really though, they're never willing to admit anything.
A lot of people play this game casually, and it makes it hard for people to recognize a skill-based like decision or matchup, and that's bringing it all the way back to like Warlock and Tickatus, because Deck of Lunacy was not only anti-fun but problematic. I was basically gonna try to compare Paladin to Tickatus, and the whole thing with Tickatus was just the fact that Tickatus Warlock, when I was talking about it, people were saying Tickatus Warlock takes no skill, you just play Tickatus and you win every game, and I'm like, that's not at all how it works. Warlock is one of the most complex classes to play in the game, where you have to manage your own HP, because a lot of things that you do deal damage to yourself, but you have more resources. You also need to sometimes heal, sometimes commit to the board, not commit to the board. You only have so much removal, so you have to remove the board sometimes, or like take some damage so you can get better removal the next turn. And there are a lot of decisions that go into that deck, but because of one broken card, they just think the whole deck takes no skill. And the same thing.
Okay, I just wanted to just really quickly though, right? Tickatus could be a dead card in your hand for almost the entire game. Yeah. I mean, I've had games where it's just dead. But I just wanted to throw that in there because the card there is a lot of suck factor to it. I
was going to get to that. It's just it is a toxic card, and that's what makes the problem.
Yeah.
Even though it does take skill, the toxicity part of it, and like watching your win condition get burned away, is just like a really crappy thing to experience. And I've done it to other people and they just concede, and I've had it done to me and I just concede, because like, well, the game's over. Yeah, I don't know. It's a toxic card, but like I think Tickatus is the main thing with Paladin, with the split of like skill versus toxicity and anti-fun. And I just thought it was an interesting topic.
Yeah, I think it is. And I'll just go on the record saying that I think Tickatus was a card that we talked about early on, and I said that card should be nerfed. And I also said it was like craziest card that it was in the meta. And I do play Tickatus. I played a lot of Warlock with Tickatus.
Yeah, I like Control Warlock, and it's like its one win condition other than Jiraxis is to burn their cards. Without it, it would have basically nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's the win condition, but it doesn't really need Tickatus. Like I've played, like there's times where you can win a game if you play it more like not just control, but like when the deck was a Galakron, you didn't even really need Tickatus. It just made
you play Galakron, and he'd be a win condition, and you'd put minions out every turn. Same thing with like Jiraxis now. Tickatus is like the plan B, unless you're into like Priest, in which case it's the plan A.
Yeah,
but that's whatever.
Yeah, so but the card is busted, and it has a lot of suck factor to it. And, But the funny part is the way that I combated that was I just played it. I just said, you know what, I'm going to commit to playing Tickatus, so this way I can't complain about it.
If you can't beat him, join him, I guess, you know?
That's it. And that's the thing is and there is a sort of an unfun factor to it, but that comes on one side. I think the card is just kind of a bad design too, but I hate to say it, but I play it, and that was the way that I combated it. Priest, another story. See, the thing is I can't play Priest when it was back in its old incantation because it just was, I don't know, weird for me to play. I just couldn't do it, so I couldn't solve that problem. But yeah, Paladin is just so broken, but
people don't talk about it. I don't know why it gets like I don't check Reddit too frequently, but when I do, or when I talk to people in like my chat, it's always Deck of Lunacy or Tickatus. It is almost never Paladin, even though Paladin has a ridiculously high win rate, and that just goes to show how like the balance has to like be taken into account at Blizzard, because the majority of the people who play this game play casually. So cards like Tickatus, although don't really have a problem competitively and are actually pretty balanced cards, like from a gameplay standpoint, since they're anti-fun, there should be something done about them. And I don't know how they would nerf Tickatus, because I don't want to see Tickatus nerfed and killed, because again, I think he's a pretty balanced card and one of Warlock's few win conditions in a class that's already like kind of meh. But at the same time, if he's this hated, I could also see them going the route of nerfing it. But they'd have to buff something else of Warlock. If they do nerf Tickatus, they would have to also buff something else in Warlock to make it a little bit relevant, because Tickatus is like one of the main cards in Warlock.
Yeah, there needs to be more application to the face and stuff there. Like, it's just one of those decks where you have so much control, like that you literally could get to the end game, but there is no end game sometimes.
Yeah, like you're about to get there, but then Tickatus burns away your end game, and you're like, well, uh-oh.
Yeah, the card, like, so it just kind of, it's weird. It's the whole card is a weird design. But here's the funny part, and I think that what Hearthstone did is they say, okay, we introduced Cthulhu. Let's give a way to interact with Cthulhu. In other words, break up the Cthulhu combo.
Oh,
so right? You know, they do weird stuff like that.
And that's why I like Tickatus. He's one of the few cards that can actually interact with with like a combo and like Vol'jin. And that's why I didn't mind Warlock and Tickatus. But at the same time, that is the reason people hate him. Because if you're playing casually, the last thing you want to do is not just lose, but to lose because your combo piece that you've been waiting all game to play just happens to be one of the cards that gets burned. And like, I understand how it feels terrible, and people are actually more okay just losing to Paladin, just being tempoed out, than being close to their combo and getting it burned, because the burning just feels worse. To like watch it pop up and then just go poof, you know? Yeah. It feels terrible. And
no, it does.
Oh, I don't know. And it's easy to say what Blizzard should do and what they shouldn't do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if they just like only nerfed cards that were anti-fun, I feel like the meta would eventually become more unbalanced, in the sense that like decks like Paladin would be super strong, while Warlock would be way more at the bottom. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say about it. It's just it's a weird situation for Blizzard to be in. And the community has two basic sides. People that I think are basically legend most seasons and see that cards like Tickatus aren't broken and would rather see like Paladin nerf, but also casual players who, and even competitive players, because Tickatus is also annoying to most people just in general, who just want to have fun with the game, and a card like Tickatus, or obviously Deck of Lunacy, but Deck of Lunacy lunacy was on both sides, both broken and anti-fun.
Right.
They want to see those cards nerfed, which is definitely fine. And again, in a card game as simple as Hearthstone, like having a more casual player base makes sense.
The reason why I'm laughing is because I was thinking about this scenario, and follow me here. Just go along with the fantasy for a second, right? And I
close my eyes. I'm imagining it. Go.
I can't remember the name of the show, right? It was one of these shows on television, like one of these blooper shows back in the day when television was actually a thing. But it was always like people like falling down and like, you know, like stupid comedy.
America's Funniest Home Videos or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. America's Funniest Home Videos. Yeah, that's the name of the show, right?
Yeah.
And I hated that show, right? But I'm telling you, the Hearthstone developers, Team 5, probably love that show, right? They're like, because it always ends up where you're like watching it and like a guy falls off a ladder and then he like goes and then like everybody's like laughing, oh my god, and they're pointing at him like and you're supposed to think that's funny. Like somebody's dismay, they're complete, like they just screwed up badly. They get hurt some of the time, and then they wind up looking like an idiot, right? And you're supposed to think that's funny, right? So the Team 5 is like, look at that, it just burned the combo. Ooh, oh man. Oh, wait, let's see how we could really torture. Oh, you know, let's make them fall off like off a cliff here. Their game. Oh, that's so bad. Look at. Oh my goodness. You get the point. Like they get like this. I think they think it's humorous for people to suffer and get screwed up.
I don't think that's true.
Well, then what is the comedy?
I was literally asking for deck or hand interaction from Blizzard for a long time, being like, "There's no way to counter OTKs," and Warlock did that. Tickatus does that, which is why from a balance standpoint, it is actually a good card to exist in the game. If Tickatus Warlock didn't exist, Control Priest would be absolutely absurd.
Right. Well,
like, Control Priest beats everything else, basically.
Well, let me ask you
some OTK decks like Demon Hunter, yeah?
You don't think that they want to, like, just go on a tangent and be like go, like, laugh? Like, it's almost seems like who could get over on the other opponent worse? Like, you don't think that it even exists in their mind? It's like
I mean, to some extent, but again, it's like a casual game. Just as much fun as it is to pull off the combo, it's honestly, since I've played Tickatus, it's also pretty fun to like watch their combo get burned. Being like, this is the only way I can beat Priest, burning a Cthulhu piece. Oh, nice, I did it. Now I have a chance. Like, I don't know, or I don't know. Like, I have a mixed relationship with Tickatus, because he's definitely love-hate. You love it when you play him, but it's also like ridiculously low lows when he gets played against you. And I feel like cards that are that volatile and make it really garbage for one person to play against just shouldn't really exist in the same way. But again, I also don't know how they'd nerf Tickatus. Like, make him burn one less card so he burns your cards less, because you can increase his mana because he corrupts, and it would make him too hard to corrupt if you made him 7 or 8 mana, which some people were suggesting. But maybe making him burn only 4 cards would be a little bit better, so that way once you play Yashiraj as well, he burns 2 less total cards. Like, maybe, but he'd still be toxic in the same way, and I don't know how they would nerf him.
Well, interestingly enough, I think that with the introduction of the watch posts and stuff like that, those are cards that target Tickatus. I think they were put in the meta to target Tickatus and corruption cards. So I think that was the element of the like the incarnation of those. So they kind of already nerfed it a little bit, or at least tried to balance it with the introduction of the Bar Watch Post. So there's that. I think that probably the route they would go is it just burns less cards. But
that's the route I would go to. You can't increase the mana cost. It would make the card like literally unplayable, but I still think it should be played a little bit. So making it burn 4 cards I think would be fine. But speaking of nerfs and the watch posts, you wanted to talk about all the nerfs and stuff that just happened on your segment, right?
That's right. So
okay, well, I'm excited to talk about that. I've already talked about it on like my channel with chat and stuff, but I want to hear your thoughts. I think it's going to be really interesting.
Let's do it. We'll see you over in the next one.